Hi everyone, it's good to be here again. I'm so excited. Welcome. If this is your first time seeing my face or being on this channel, you're welcome. And welcome back to everyone who has always been here watching my videos and all. Thank you very much. Okay, so what I do basically on this channel is to share with you things I'm learning from older women, and of course maybe habits I'm also learning from older women, like directly or indirectly. And today's episode is going to be a fun episode. I'm so excited. I'm so sad about this particular episode. So if you've not subscribed, please subscribe. Share this video, like this video, comment. I would like to know what you think about my discussion with you guys today, and of course share the video. It promises to be very engaging and worth your time. Then watch other videos too. Yeah, so let's get straight into today's video. So I'm so pumped up about today's video. So one of the many things that I enjoy doing, or that I think I enjoy doing, is journaling. So I think I like taking notes and writing things down, and I've been doing this for a while now. I won't say I'm a very consistent, I call myself a journalist, I don't know, a consistent writer, yeah, when it comes to journaling. But I would say that I think I've tried to a good extent. I don't write every day, but I try as much as possible to take note of things. And even if I can't write in the moment, at the moment, I try as much as possible to, jot things down, then maybe come back to write them in full. And I've done this for about 6 years now. I would say consistent journaling for me, or serious journaling for me, started in 2020. And I was in my final year. Was it my final year? Yeah, we were done with final year, but coronavirus and all stuff. So I took journaling a little bit serious. Of course, maybe over time I'd been writing like here and there, different books and all, but I took writing a little bit serious in 2020, and it's been very beautiful. I keep a spiritual journal actually, and if you've watched my video on journaling, I made a video in 2024 on journaling. I'm going to put the link down there. So I think it's very important for you to watch that video, like journaling, a habit of older women. Yeah, if you've watched that video, you know that I keep a spiritual journal, and in that video I actually spoke about other journals that you can keep, but majorly I keep a spiritual journal. And yes, I think I've been keeping that for the past, okay, so this would be like the 6th year that I've been keeping a spiritual journal. And what the fun thing I'm doing today is I'm going to be reading my journals, my own journals with you. Yeah, journaling is quite personal, yeah, but I just thought to share so that maybe practically you can understand what I mean by a spiritual journal, and maybe you can connect with that particular video from 2024 and practically see what I mean by journaling. Yeah, so that's basically what I'm going to do in this video. So it's my birth month. Yeah, it's July, my birth month, and one habit I picked, I don't know how I picked it up or just something, but I have this habit of reading. So this 2026, so before my birthday, or majorly before my birthday, I read my journal entries from July 17th 2025 to July maybe 16th 2026. So that's basically what I do. So I go through my journals, then I also go through what God said to me July 17 of different years. So July 17 of 2020, July 17 of 2021, and on like that. So I did something also exciting last year. So in 2020, yeah, July 17, 2020, I went to Agodi Gardens in Ibadan, and it was just like a personal day to daytime with with me and God. Yeah, because before, okay, let me say 21 days before my birthday, I always have this prayer and fasting where I have like a long list of things I'm praying about for the future and all stuff. So the last day, I think that year, was July 17th. So I went to Agodi Gardens to pray, and just, it was just like an hangout with God, and it was like a prayer session, a conversation session, and all stuff with God like that. So that was 2020, and I was writing like my desires for the coming year. And I would say in 2020 was when I got like really serious with God, with my work with God. So I was like keen about what God would have me do and all. So last year made it like 5 years, 2025 made it 5 years that I went there last for that purpose. So I went again last year, July 17, 2025, and I read all my journals from 2020 to 2025, and believe me, it was, God is good. God is good. Like when I look at things that I never even imagined in 2020, things like the growth I'd never imagined in 2020, and I see it in 2025. It's just very beautiful. And that's one reason why I can't stop journaling. Journaling is that space where I'm able to measure my growth. Journaling is that place where I'm able to, yes, see reasons to be grateful to God, because sometimes you get to a phase in life and you're like, what has God done for me? He has not done it, so humanly. So Israelite dish, do you understand? Like children of Israel. So journaling is that space where I'm able to like appreciate God for what He has done, and because I have records of let me say things I prayed for earlier, or what I feel like God is saying to me and all, I'm able to like go back. Then journaling is that space where I'm also able to track what God is saying per time. So, okay, what did God say last year? What is God saying now? What did God say like 3 months ago? And all stuff. And I remember I was having a discussion with my husband the other day, and we were just like thanking God for the gift of writing. I think that's I don't know whether that's a very good thing to say, but that's how it came to my mind. Like, I'm grateful for the gift of writing. I'm grateful for the gift of being able to capture things and go over them, because I think he was looking at some of his journals and I was like, wow, when did God say this to me? Oh wow. Or something, it feels like God is saying to him at the moment. God has said it before, so it's like a emphasis on and all and on and on. I know I'm talking too much, but anyways, what I'm basically doing on this episode is to share with you pages from my old journals. Yeah, I don't have all my journals here, yeah, but I have a few. So I have this and I have this majorly. So I'm just going to like pick a few and share with you. It might not just be this particular episode. I could do it for 2 or 3 episodes, hoping that I don't know, I would have the strength to do it, to be very consistent. And reading my journal is quite personal. Yeah, it's supposed to be a private thing, but I still feel like it's something that you can learn from. Like I have learned from Elizabeth Elliot and Emeka Michael, like the way they journal and all stuff. I think you can also learn from maybe just pick 1 or 2 things and all stuff. So that's basically what I'm doing, and I'm hoping that at the end of this episode I'm able to have like a journaling challenge for those that want to take journaling a little bit seriously, and for those that I think it would be nice for them to go over their old journal. So let's get right into it. So I'm going to start with this, my dear journal. So when I say you're new to journaling, don't get a big book. This is something like what I mean. Do you understand? Like, you don't have to do too much. Another thing I noticed about journaling, I see the improvement in my handwriting. Oh my God. Sometimes I see my handwriting, I'm like, what is this? But anyways, that's by the way. But I'm saying that these journals are not about like I'm doing things perfectly. Everything is like on point. My writing is, there are many things I've seen in my journal. I'm like, when did God say this one? Oh, did you hear it clearly? Or but that's what journaling is about, just to measure growth and all stuff. So this is not my first journal. This is not my 2020 journal. I don't think I came with my 2020 journal, but this is my 2021 journal. Yeah, and I think I used it for a very long time. So that's what I'm saying, that journaling for me was not like an everyday thing. I think I wrote till the end of 2021 in this journal. So I'm just going to pick some pages randomly and I'm going to share with you. So if you are thinking of venturing into journaling, you can start with something this small. Yeah, you can start with something this small, and very handy. I took this to for the orientation camp, the NYC orientation camp, and it was usually in my pouch, although my pouch was quite big because I wanted to keep this particular journal with me. So this like a journal I used before going for service, like a little before going for service and going for service. So I'm just going to like pick random pages from there. So I think I started this journal sometime. Okay, so we were waiting to be mobilized. I think that was about March, April 2021. Yes, we're open to be mobilized and all stuff. And I think I started this page with a month prayer and fasting stuff. So my plan was for every day I was going to write something that I felt God was speaking or saying to me. And I think as at that time I was reading books. I think I was reading, yes, based on this entry means I was reading God Chasers, and I was writing like my personal thoughts, quotes, and all stuff. So one of the few things I write in my journal, like, are quotes from books I'm reading. So if you go through my journal, you're going to see like a lot of quotes from books I'm reading. Here I can see Charles, like City Store. I can see William Carey's quotes. I can see David Livingstone's quote, George Miller's quote, and just all of that. But like I said, 2020 was when I was getting like quite serious with God. So 2021 also, I think I was still like I desired God so much. I still desire God. I'm not saying I'm not desiring God. Like, so most of these things here were like, Lord, I want to know you more and all stuff. So I'm going to like see a particular one I can try to read. Okay, so I just came across one where it says one of its kind, and this is 13th of March 2021. We went for my husband's dad's burial. It was not my husband then. It was not, what was he? It was our father in the Lord then. And I would say that particular burial ceremony was one burial ceremony that stood out for me, because I felt like, wow, see this person that is giving himself for God, wholeheartedly being called home. And it greatly challenged me, like the whole process, the ceremony, testimony, the tribute, and all stuff so got to me. And I felt like it was also like a type of encounter with God. So I'm saying that sometimes it might not be like something that I read in the Bible. So I was trying to talk about my encounter, in quotes, during the burial. So you see a lot of songs here, because we had the service of songs that stood out for me. So the troubles are sailed, only remembered by what we've done, faith of our fathers, what I thought about him as a father, what I thought about him as a pastor, what I thought about him as a man of God. I wrote all of that there. So I'm still going to read a few parts. So I didn't meet him. I didn't meet my husband's dad, but at least I've heard a few things about him. So I was talking about parenting here. I was saying it has stirred something in me about parenting, and I know it's something I have to work on starting from this moment. Of course, God's will for a child will be fulfilled. His plans will be fulfilled. But I, as a mother, shouldn't just be their biological mother, but a mentor. A mom that doesn't just invest in pleasures and rosiness of life for children, but one that leads her children to the cross, one that is keen on laying treasures in the heavens, one whose words, actions, and lifestyles correspond with a teaching. So I think what led to me saying this was, like, I was seeing how, like, the testimonies of biological and spiritual children, I'm like, okay, we can't just live life anyhow. If after death these people can still speak of the things that they've learned from their father, like, of course, by seeing my husband, I know I know the kind of father that I had. My husband speaks of his father like he's speaking of his brother in the Lord. Yes, and that's quite challenging, and I want that to be the story for me and my children. That I don't just like lay up earthly treasures for them, but I lay up heavenly treasures that can hold them even when I'm long gone. So I would say that was the first. Okay, like, that's the first thing I'm reading to you guys. Then I think at the point I was reading this, I'm going to put the picture somewhere here. I was reading this God's General, but it was about missionaries to Africa and all stuff. And one of the people there was T.L. Osborne and his wife. So I was reading their story, how they got together. So it says, well, different things caught my attention, but one lingered and made me pray for a husband after God's will. Daisy prayed for a Christian friend that goes places with her, church, rallies, fellowship meetings, and Tommy came by, and it struck a chord inside, and I prayed, Lord, give me a man who is passionate about you and your work, a man who loves you so much, a man who will provide covering to us, me and the children, a man I can pray for, a man I can listen to, a man I can submit to in all things, a man that can father me and the children in God's will, a man I can be a helpmate to in his God-given assignment, a man I really love and I'm ready to go any length with, sweeter and bitter, a man that loves me so much, a man with whom I am naked and we're not ashamed, a man who sees what you've put in me, a man I can see what you've put in him too, a man I can run side by side with, one I can encourage and trust, one that I can encourage and one that trusts me, a man after your own heart, the man you've prepared for me, the man you have okay, you're preparing me for my man of God, a man who will do your will. We will do your will together to obey the word goodbye, and we see your face and hear you say to us that through our marriage your will was done, and that we are proud. You are proud. You, if you know what I wrote, that's another thing about journaling. You see some mistakes that we, okay, I'm correct, that we made you proud. I thought I wrote that that we are proud of you. Sorry, my corrector. Okay, but I said that we made you proud. Yeah. So I would say these are the kind of things that stands out for me. So instead of just like writing them, like praying them in my heart, I write them, I capture them in my journal. Yeah. So it helps me when I go back to it. It's still always my desire. When I go back to it, it's still like a measurement for the kind of man I'm hoping that God brings my way. So yeah, there's that entry. Then there's also another entry, so that you don't think that she's always a very, very, very serious girl. I don't know what happened here, but I know that we went for a village outreach, and during that village outreach, I don't know what happened, but maybe there was like a message or our morning devotion or something, and I wrote this in my book, "O Ye of Little Faith." I'm here again at this same point. I see my faithlessness again. I've been trying to like remember what happened. I don't know, maybe something about the villagers or something, or maybe a personal thing that God has done to me. I see my faithlessness again. It shows me how much I believe God's word. Oh, ye of little faith. Even when I've heard and read that thus says the Lord, and even believe for a while, maybe after a while I forget again and worry about what he already told me. Oh, ye of little faith. I am but a timid lioness that forgets her identity quickly. An unbelieving believer, faithless believer. I admit my unbelief and faithlessness. And like Thomas, I want to see before believing. And like Paul, I still go back to fishing even after seeing. And like Nathaniel, even after seeing Jesus, I still needed him to speak the supernatural before acknowledging him as the Son of God. And like the father of the child cried out and said in tears, I am also saying to you, Lord, I believe, help my unbelief. Help is all I ask, help my faith. And like the apostle said unto the Lord, I say, increase our faith. That I remember what you've said, what you've spoken, and your word to me is enough to carry me to the very end. It's enough to see me to its fulfillment, regardless of situations around, mockeries, time on delay, whatever, regardless, that I keep holding on to you and what you said, regardless. I like Thomas, my heart acknowledges and declares, my Lord and my God. This is the life of faith, forgetting and remembering. This is the life of the church, reminding and being reminded. So I wrote 30th of April 2021, my cry from the devotion at Ologo, that's where we were for the village outreach. A reinforces from what Bemi said during the morning prayer. And you know, when I saw this, for the fact that I could not even remember what it was, and you know, I think it's still my cry because I forget quickly. I forget things that God has said to me quickly. Yeah, but you know, going through this page, you can say, okay, God, I am frail, I'm human, I am unbelieving, but God has mercy upon me. Constantly brings me to that point where I am reminded of what you say, yeah, of your word again, yeah. Constantly bring me to that point. Yeah, so that was another beautiful entry. Okay, so I think at this point, I don't know, I think the first batch, so I was planning for NYSC then, and I was so excited to go because finally I was going to leave at the house after like how many, we've been at home since the coronavirus time, and I was just stressed and I just wanted to leave the house, but I was not mobilized with the first batch, so I had to wait for the second batch. So I think this was when I was reading this book, so Screwtape Letters by C.S. Lewis. I'm going to put the picture somewhere here. So, and I think at that point I was getting to that point where, you know, I said I was getting serious in my spiritual life, and my measurement for being serious at that time was like feelings. Do you understand? So I felt at that point I was not feeling it. Do you understand? I woke up, at that time I wake up and, you know, it will just not be gelling. Like you pray and it's just not gelling, and you're like, God, what's up? What's happening exactly? I think I was at that point in my life, and it was really stressing me out. It was really stressing me out, and that was the point where I picked Okay, maybe I was already reading Screwtape's letter, and it was saying something about okay, so how am I supposed to explain Screwtape's letter? No, so Screwtape's letter is like letters written from a bigger demon, a higher demon, to a younger demon on how to distract a Christian. Yeah, to make sure it does not get to heaven, it does not please God and all stuff. So this particular part where I was reading was the part where it was trying to tell him that, try to make him feel that when he feels low, or he does not feel that the presence of God with him, help him to be so discouraged that he feels like God is not with him. Let me see if I can find, like, I can't read so much. Okay, so he said something like, he's prepared to do a little overriding at the beginning. He sets himself off with communication of his presence, which though faint seem great to them, with emotional sweetness and easy conquest over temptation. But he never allows this state of affair to last long. That's God. Sooner or later, God, in quote, withdraws, not in fact, at least, from their conscious experience, all those support and incentives. He leaves the creature to stand upon its own legs, to carry out from the will alone duties which have lost all relish. It is during such trough periods, much more than during the peak periods, that it is growing into the sort of creature he wants it to be. So he's trying to lecture the younger demon that what God does for us is that at the beginning of the journey, we always feel that consciousness of God all around us, and everything's doing you want to pray, you're praying for 5 hours. You want to do this, you're doing it for long hours. But he also says that, I guess, to a point that he withdraws, like it feels like God withdraws, but it's not like he withdraws, like you just don't consciously feeling like the way you've always been feeling it. And he was saying that at those times are like, let me see, those points at the point where true growth happens, because now faith is built that God is not, I don't feel it, but I know he's here. Yeah, commitment is built, responsibility is built at those points. So it was saying something like, our cause is never more in danger than when a human, no longer desiring but intending to do our enemies' will. So when they say enemies, it's talking about God, looks around upon the universe from which every trace of him seems to have vanished, and asks why he has forsaken, and still obeys. So he's trying to say that what makes a Christian strong at that point is that he does not feel God, he does not feel God, but he knows God is there, and he still obeys. He still seeks God, he still obeys God's commandments and all stuff. So he was lecturing the younger demon to make that period for the believer very difficult, that the believer thinks, or like he makes the believer believe that God is no longer with him, God has abandoned him, and because of that he withdraws. So I think I was at that point when this came to me, and this was my entry about it. To say, with gladness of heart I write this, great gladness I must say. I remember returning yesterday from the outreach and asking God to say something about this quiet period. I've assumed for too long, maybe it's sin, which I've traced back and found nothing. So I was at that point when I felt like God was far from me, I was thinking I was sin. Maybe a distraction, which I've realized has always been there, but was not a big issue. Maybe unseriousness, which I realized wasn't the case. I was drawn to the Psalms. I wanted to look at David's down moment, but I didn't read the Psalm because I was clueless on where to start, if not the popular Psalm 1. I should have tried to look at it though. That means I did not look at it. But for some reason unknown to me, I decided to start reading the Screwtape letter, C.S. Lewis, soft copy, before the hard copy comes. So I think at that time I'd ordered the hard copy. And getting to this place, I'm tempted to assume that I picked this book because he wanted me to read this specifically. This is the answer for me. He's not disappointed in me. He's not tired of me. I'm not unserious. It was never about my input from the beginning. It was just wanting to teach me how to stand at work without the eye feelings and goosebumps and the mushiness. I'm never to forget that he leads me even when it doesn't look like it. So I started meditating on Psalm 23, where it says, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me, the rod and staff comforts me. The first thing seen in this verse is the use of I, which is the first time after this one, which also has a sound of dependency because of the semicolon. I don't know what I was saying here, but it's okay. It's always E, but at this point it is I. So I think I was trying to say, if you look at verse 1 to 4, you're going to see my the Lord is my shepherd. Aside, I shall not want. of course, dependent on the fact that he's my shepherd. So when you read chapter 1, I mean verse 1, verse 2, verse 3, you definitely see all that he's doing. So you see e till you get to verse 4, where it says, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death. So it becomes I at that point. So it says the second thing is valley of the shadow of death, which points me to the previous verses that tells of the enjoyment of the moments before, the peaks, and now the valley. The third thing is a shadow of death. Actually, it's a shadow, a semblance of death, not death in itself. The next is that's the next thing. For thou art with me. As much as it feels like a lone walk, he is always there. It is always important to remember that he is the shepherd. Then thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. The shadow depicts a bit of darkness. So saying his rod and his staff is comforting seems to me like, even though I feel like I'm the only one in the valley, because everything seems dark, the occasional touch of your rod and staff is a proof that even though I can't see you, you're right beside me. Even though I walk there, he led me there. This takes me back to 13th of May 2021, when I prayed for the consciousness to remember always that a staff has been given to me instead of sulking always. Now this is a very different thought, but like reading it now, I'm encouraged again, and that's why I would always advocate for keeping journals and noting what God is saying, because it goes a long way. I can't count how many times I've gone back to this particular point, this particular part at different points, just to be reminded again that okay, God is with me. That I'm not feeling it now, or I'm not feeling it, does not mean that He's not with me. Faith is that I don't feel Him. Faith is that everything looks like He's not there, but that does not mean He's not there. And I actually like how the Holy Spirit helped me break down that valley of the shadow of death. It's a shadow, it's not what it is. And in all of it, His rod and His staff, they comfort us. That means it still comes at different points. Like, we can't clearly see Him, but the nudges, sometimes you're so down, you get to church and it's like the word of God comes to you. And you're so excited, like, oh, I can feel Him again. And you get home and it feels like you're down again. Sometimes, not because you've committed any sin or you're not responsible. I said sometimes, it could be that sometimes. Not like you're not responsible or something. It could also be God. And it's at that point that faith is built. That's where growth happens. Growth for us as children of God is when we don't see what we expect. We can't feel it. There's no consciousness like that to show that God is there, but we still trust Him and we still believe Him. Exactly. That's where true making is made. And it's a journey. You valley at a point, mountain at another point, valley again. That's how He has designed it, and that's because He wants us to be dependent on Him. And just reading this, it's so beautiful. What do you think? I think it's beautiful. Anyways, I think I want to read one more entry and we'll be done. Okay, so this particular entry was written on my birthday, 17th July 2021. And I have this habit. Okay, so my mom, every time you're doing birthday and you're at home, so believe that you do crossover service. So my mom would have come to your room from 11:30, and she's going to stay in your room for like 12:15 or 12 o'clock or 12:10. So even when we're in school, she calls around that dark times to just pray for you. So I would always say that my mom is always the first person to wish me happy birthday, because she's most times with me. By with me, I mean on a call or something. I don't know how this year will be though, but anyways, okay, I don't know how this year will be because I'm recording this before my birthday. You might be seeing this on my birthday or after my birthday. So the summary of last year: the Lord my helper, the Lord my friend. So when I looked at my journal from July 17 to July 17 2020 to July 17 2026, what I could pick was the Lord my helper, the Lord my friend. And ever since I saw this quote from Elizabeth Elliot, I think I've quoted it every year. It says, the beginning of another year in which to walk humbly with God. so that I may learn to love him supremely and no other desire and have no other desire but him alone. Teach me thy ways, O Lord. Then I wrote like scriptures I got from Psalm 30, Psalm 27, and it goes on and on like that. Like those scriptures and all stuff. I think, okay, so this is how it works, it goes for me. So as I'm praying and they are dropping, I'm writing down. Do you understand? So sometimes I'm journaling my prayers, and as I'm journaling my prayers, I like responses in quotes in my heart. So I write down. So that's how it looks on and on. So and then when hymns come to my mind too, I sing and I write them down. So I think the hymn I was writing down is Draw Me Nearer, Nearer Blessed Lord. Yeah. So at the end of it, I think I don't know, but this was like my prayer at the end of like have written chapters, verses of the Bible, quotes and all stuff. So I said, Lord, I don't ask for any special gifts this year. Be my gift. It is you I want. To think that this was what I was praying for at the beginning of this month. Don't leave me. Be with me all through. If I have found favor, or if I have found grace in thy sight, reveal your way to me so that I can truly know you, so that I may gain your favor. Remember that I'm your covenant child. If your presence doesn't take the lead here, call the strip off right now. How else will it be known that you're with me in this? Now this I think from Exodus chapter 33. I think message version or the voice version. Anyone who else will know that I am special? Please let me see your glory. Let me bask and live in your glory. Let me show forth your glory. I know it comes with a cost or costs, and I don't know how costly it will be, oh Lord, but I choose your way. Keep me on the altar, since it's only dead men that can see or bear your glory. Let the death process begin. Don't let me go, oh Lord. I seek your grace and mercy daily. Have mercy on me. So as I was praying that, then I can't even explain, but as I was praying that in my heart and as I was writing down, Exodus 33 verse 17 came to mind. That's actually a continuation of what I'd written earlier, and I said in my other video on journaling, I try as much as possible to put in the time. So I was at 1:34 a.m. this response came as and the response, I think it was according to the voice translation or the message version. It says, all right, just as you say, this also will I do, for I know you well and you're special to me, and I know you by name. Okay, so this part, it says, Lord, okay, as I said, Lord, once again, I add over everything that makes me need to you. My feelings and emotions especially. You've been Lord over them previously, and it's been comforting even in times of confusion to know that you're in charge. I dare not take over the reins of my life, oh Lord, in the good and the bad times. Be in charge. As regards now is what I call my as a time I didn't know any other man, but when I'm writing my journal, anywhere you see that's my man. Yeah, I think I even have my stuff here. Yep, for yeah, so this is my prayer journal for my husband. Yeah, it's 2 books. I finished the first one and joined the second one too. So this was way before, should be around 2019 or maybe beginning of 2020. That's when I started writing this. So I said as regards because as at that time I felt like there was a prompting towards marriage. Much later you realize that I was not even being big fan of marriage, but there was a prompting towards marriage, and there was a leading towards this direction. The direction that I am at the moment. So you've been in charge till this moment. I don't ever want to take over. If it is the one I think that's, as at that time I don't even know how to explain it. I felt like God was leading in this direction, but it was, I don't know, I was not seeing it clearly. Or maybe there was a part of me that was more like, are you shocked, babe? That's a story for another day. But if it's the one I think, groom him till he's fit to come. Work on me too. Let him come in your time. Help me to be patient and to rejoice while waiting for you to bring him. Lead me in all of my disposition. And if it is not the one I think, help me to learn what you want me to learn even now. Let your desires be mine. I refuse to have my own desires outside yours. It leads me. I cannot miss it. So that was the end of my writing in 2020. On my birthday. And it's just a lot. When I go through this journal, it's a treasure. I'm serious. It's a treasure. I think there were many times I'd said things like, God, I'm not sure that you're the one speaking to me. So I'm saying that I'm not always serious in my journal. I'm not saying that like those are the ones that I can read at the moment. But I would not say that I'm so serious in my journal. I think there was somewhere, should I look for it, where I was telling God I want a fine husband. I can't even remember. Yeah. But I asked for basic things too, like, God, I need you to provide for me to buy these things and all stuff. Yeah. So I would say my journal is that place, like my private place with God. And going through it again, like, rejoices my heart, encourages my heart, helps me to also see my growth. There are some prayers I prayed then, I'm like, my creator, how did we pray this kind of prayers? But it's my creator, he wants me to just come the way I am. Yeah. So I'm going to stop here on today's episode. It's a long video already, but it's supposed to be like an encouragement to you that journaling is worth it. In my reading of Leviticus, and of course by the time I get to Deuteronomy, it will also be an emphasis. You'd always see that it tells us how Moses wrote down, Moses noted things and all, and that was what these people were able to go back to when Moses was called. And for me, I think that's really what journaling is. And come to think of it, that's what the Bible is. I'm not saying the Bible is a journal, but like it's a compendium of the life of people, prayers of people. Look at the Psalms, for example. The Psalm seems to me like a journal. Yeah, nothing. You're not supposed to pretend in your journal. You're not supposed to. I think there was a time I wrote in my journal, like, God, for what you are saying, I choose no. I don't know what you're asking me to choose, but I choose no. Exactly. So it's a place of vulnerability. It's a place to be open. It's a place. It's a place of prayer. I think a few times when I don't have that strength to pray, I write instead. Yeah. And I think I'm also getting to that point where even when I don't have strength to write, sometimes I record my voice recorder and maybe come back to write it later, or note what I'm trying to pray about. So this is an admonishment to you again. Take your journaling quite serious. Yeah. It's an age where it's an age where there are a lot of things that can muzzle the word of God in your heart, but when you have it kept somewhere, you can go back to it and you can refresh your heart. There are many things around us that makes it look like God is not listening, God is not seeing me, but when you go back to your journals, you actually see that it's paying attention to you. And like I mentioned earlier, there's still going to be like information about it. I'm thinking of like a consistent accountability journaling group, maybe for a month, I don't know, as God will direct, and all stuff, like where we like, I know some people really want to do it. They want to journal, but sometimes they don't have the time, or they've forgotten, they're not reminded or something, or they don't know what to write. Yeah. So I'm thinking of something in that line. And also for people that keep journals already, do you go over your journals? Do you see the growth in it? Do you go over your journal? I think it's also something I think we should also do. Maybe a time where we just meet together and just read through our journals. I'm not saying that you read out loud to anybody or anything, but yeah, it's been a refreshing conversation for me, at least as I step into a new year at the moment. Yes, it makes me grateful to God. It makes me appreciate God, and it makes me want to desire God more, because if He's brought me this far, can't take me further. Yeah. And of course, there are times that I realize that I'm still praying the same prayers. And that's something I'm also grateful to God for. By praying the same prayers might not be like the same depth, and sometimes even the same depth. But the fact that there's still a constant desire for God makes me rejoice. And there are times that I notice when you get things are glitching and you're like, Mary, no, this is not you and all. Anyways, I think I've spoken too much. If you've not subscribed to my YouTube channel, please subscribe. If you enjoyed this video, please put it there. If you learned something, put it there. What do you think about the challenge? Are you interested or something? I don't know. I'm just going to give us more info in the next, because I'm going to randomly pick another journal and read with you. Yeah, so thank you for listening to me till the end. Take care of yourself. Journal. Bye.